I'm Brendan Baker with Powersports Business, and today we're here at Glen Helen Raceway in San Bernardino, California, test riding some new model units from Denago Powersports, which is a pretty new player to the powersports market. And we're here today with the general manager, David Garibian. Tell us a little bit about Denago Powersports and how, a little bit of the history, the background of it, where it began, and how, it just recently launched basically in last year, right?
Correct. Yeah, so welcome and thank you for having me on your podcast here. Obviously, we're very grateful that you had time to come and join us today here at the legendary Glen Helen Raceway. Obviously, what we're doing here today is showing off some of our products and letting everybody test drive them and getting the feel for the vehicles. Obviously our brand has been out there for a little bit of time. We launched it last year in September for the Sands Super Show in Orange County, and everything's been going well. And of course, our brand is getting more and more familiar with people. But it's another thing where industry professionals come and actually touch and feel and drive the vehicles.
Right.
And we get feedback from it. Right. They say it's good, it's bad, whatever it may be. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing here today. A little bit about Denago Powersports. Denago Powersports is a premium powersports brand that is targeted for affordability. So what we do here at Denago is we make really nice vehicles. As you can see one here, this is an electric
yeah,
ATV.
This electric one.
It's an electric
nice,
one,
yeah.
But it's made for nowadays for families to get into the sport and actually afford the sport. As we know, the sport is an incredibly great way of spending time with families and being outdoors and conquering new adventures, but it is expensive. So our kind of way of doing things is to make premium products that the whole family can afford and it won't break the bank.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what Denago Powersports is.
And, you've got a range of products now that are, mostly kind of that entry level, like you say, youth to beginning entry level rider. Not necessarily all for youth because, a lot of adults are riding, this little like E-Hawk electric, which is pretty sweet.
It's a pretty sweet machine, yeah. So our vehicles are definitely entry level, priced entry level as well, obviously. But yeah, we have a full line of vehicles. So right now we have our MX series of dirt bikes, pit bikes.
Yeah.
And then we have our electric and gas-powered ATVs. And this one in particular is a Y6 electric, lithium-powered, removable battery, app-controlled ATV, and kind of new to the market. Not too many things are out there like this one. And then from here up, we have gas-powered Y6, Y10, and G16 ATVs. So we have a range of ATVs, and they all range from different power wattage to different engine displacements as well.
Yeah, all the way up to 300, right? Which is one you launched at AIM Expo.
Correct. Yes, we launched 3 different models at AMX Expo. We had a 200cc utility.
Okay.
We had a 250cc Daytona. That's a sport, and then our 300cc Freelander, two-wheel drive.
People know maybe the Denago name, have heard the name, but there's Denago. You have an e-bike division. Sure. that is separate from Denago Powersports. They're not the same at all.
Correct. So basically the Denago we describe it as Denago as a tree, and it's got multiple different branches. Powersports being one of the branches on the tree. Denago EV, which is a golf cart brand.
Oh, yeah.
And Denago e-bikes, which is we do e-bikes for Denago. So it's a whole inclusive outdoor brand that's called Denago vehicles.
And with the power sports side now, Sands Sports Super Show, and where is that, in Arizona?
No, that's in Orange County. It's Costa Mesa.
And so just talking to one of your dealers who I happened to stop by yesterday, sort of on accident because he was close to my hotel.
Sure.
And I happened to look at the website and I'm like, oh, it's a Denago dealer. So I'm like, that's perfect, But he was telling me that show is kind of the kickoff of the season.
That's the start of the season for us. That's the time where the cool weather comes to California, and that's when we can start riding. Yeah, that's kind of the time where we launch the brand, and That's the time.
But you're going to be, obviously this will be nationwide, and and some of these are I know some are in prototype stages with
Correct.
a couple of them, but a lot of these are already in production.
Oh yeah. So
And-
definitely, as we stand today, several like our whole dirt bike line is all in dealer network across the country, which we have, and then also four of the ATVs are in dealership floors as well now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the youth stuff, pretty much, it's all covered, and we have that in dealership floors. And then as far as the medium size to adult size, that's coming up next in the next couple of months here.
Now, where's your location? You have a warehouse here,
Yes.
and your headquarters is Texas? Or?
Yeah, so Irving, Texas is our headquarters, our corporate office.
Okay.
We have a warehouse in Chino, California, which is where I'm based out of. And also we have another warehouse coming soon here in Tampa, Florida as well.
Oh, okay. So you'll cover kind of both ends of
Absolutely.
spectrum, and as far as for dealers that want to get in, I mean, this is what kind of option, like what is the appeal to Denago? What would be the appeal to Denago for a dealer?
Well,
that's looking to pick up something?
For a dealer, the value proposition for Denago is profitability. The profit margins for a Denago product, when it's being sold, it's very profitable. It's almost double than the current OEMs that are in the market.
So even as a low price point, entry level, it still gives enough profitability in that the dealer's still making
Correct.
money.
Correct. And the nice thing about our company, besides the profitability, we also have support for consumers and dealers, and also wholesale financing and also retail financing. So we kind of have everything encompassing that a dealer would need to sell our product and continue to grow with the Denago brand.
Depending on what they buy, or if a family comes in and wants to buy several of them,
Yeah.
they got several kids,
Right. That's right. So
you can put that in there. So
definitely. So we partner up with for the wholesale side with North Point Finance, and they're a great partner to work with. And then on the retail side of it, on the consumer end, we're working with Synchrony, and we're also going to have some other ones come on board as well, to provide the variety of options for consumers.
So you've got big plans though for Denago. See, you talking to you earlier. I mean, you've got some big ideas for things that you want to build out down the road. Is there anything you can share about a direction?
Sure.
Or any to couple of little hints of what you guys might be doing?
Yes, for you, definitely. I can give you some insider
Yeah.
of where our company is going or what direction we're looking at. Definitely by next year, we want to get into big displacement, ATVs and side-by-sides. So that's kind of what we're planning to do by Q1 of next year, to have a large displacement ATV and 2-door and also 4-door side-by-side as well. So that's kind of the near future of what's going to happen. Next year, I think you'll see more and more adult stuff, because right now we have a lot of children's products covered. So
Yeah.
our next progression is the adult market. So that is what's coming up next for Denago.
But the youth market is pretty hefty. I think that people underestimate how big this market really is, and really this is where you build that rider for life.
Absolutely.
So you get them. Yeah.
It's a huge market, and I mean, if you think about it, most families have 2 children, and both kids don't like sharing an ATV or a dirt bike, so they need to have 2, and those children grow, so they can't be on one ATV for 5 years, 6 years, so they always constantly are changing. So yeah, the market it's a vast market, and it's definitely growing every year.
Yeah, and I think you also have thought outside the box in terms of the types of customers that you're looking at targeting, families that are camping and, overlanding. You guys just recently did a show there.
Yeah. Recently, 2 months ago, actually, I believe we did a show, which was the California Overland Expo. And that was nice because, the Overland Expo is, again, our industry. It's off-roading, and it's adventures and things of that nature. And we decided for that show to make something a little custom. We had a rooftop tent on the back of one of our ATVs that was folded. We made a custom mount for it.
Nice.
So yeah, it folded
So
up.
you could go camping on that,
Yeah, and
take it out from your overlanding, set up your base camp, and go out and
correct.
camp
And so
somewhere.
our thought behind that was like, hey, you know what? Not everybody has the fancy four-wheel drive trucks, and not all of them want to take it off-roading to get it scratched up and dirty.
Yeah.
So you know what? You can buy one of these ATVs, install a rooftop tent, and have just about the same amount of fun for much more affordability.
Right.
And then you still have your beautiful car. You don't damage
Yeah,
it.
you're not messing up your truck. Or
Yeah,
anything.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's a win-win.
It's a
basically.
win-win. It's a win-win. So it was just something for us
What was
to be
the
outside
feedback?
of the box.
Did you get good feedback?
Oh,
from
the feedback, it was incredible for us because even when I Googled rooftop tent on the back of an ATV, I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
So when people saw it, they were just kind of like blown away, and all we saw was just laughter
It's a
and
good
smiles.
idea.
Yeah, it's really cool, and kids were climbing in the air, and parents were like, okay, how much is this? Where can we buy this? So it was just kind of like a new sector of business
Yeah.
that people hadn't thought about, So it was pretty cool. As far as the side-by-side is concerned, it all depends on what displacement. So like, let's say, for example, if you have a small displacement in side-by-sides, let's say the 500 region, that's mainly your utilitarian type use. And then you get into the 850, that's like the crossover.
Yeah.
Then once you get into the 1000s, that's kind of the sport line.
Yeah.
So we kind of going to follow that trend, but not be totally exactly the way everybody's doing it.
You're not going to fit into one
No.
exact lane like
No.
that. Like, Venn diagram, you may cross over a little here, a little
Yeah.
there. That
No, we want to be traditional, but yet we want to be innovative.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing, kind of the idea behind Denago. Just like this electric ATV. There's been electric ATVs here and there, but none of them
Yeah.
had a removable lithium battery pack that's removable and that's app controlled and that's so user friendly, for little children to use. So that's
and
kind
adults, I think, the funny thing is, we saw you earlier towing with using this
Yes.
little lithium powered pulling a bigger ATV to
Yes.
move it into a position.
That's
and
right.
I mean, you can tow with it. And, it's not as uncomfortable. The funny thing is, you think it's tiny. And I mean, I'm small, but you're a bigger guy. You could fit on that thing and it doesn't feel like it's really uncomfortable.
Absolutely. It's obviously designed for little
Yeah.
children, but time to time, we always like to.
Yeah, you got to test out what the kids are doing.
Exactly. You gotta make sure they're working.
Exactly.
So that's kind of our excuse, right?
Right,
So
right.
then we always jump on and go riding around and come back with a smile on our face. And with this ATV specifically, let's say if you're not really an electric person, you're more a traditional gas person, like gas-powered vehicles, you kind of shine away from a product like this. But really, the first 5 minutes you're on this vehicle, you get amazed. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't know it could be this fun. I
Right.
didn't know it could be so torquey. And
It's-
so,
it gives you a big smile, and I mean it is surprising because it's only limited. You're limited at 15 miles an hour.
because
So.
the Y6 ATV, so
Yeah.
governmentally that's regulated to 15 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But the way and how fast you get to 15 miles an hour and how torquey it is, I think that's where everybody's so surprised.
And it is surprisingly strong and stout. Like
Oh,
even
yeah.
going up hills, you're like, yeah, this thing just cruises. So
It's so funny. We have one of our sales reps actually. He walks his dog with one of these things. So instead of him walking the
Right.
dog, he just drives
that's not
around.
good for the steps, though.
It's not good for the step. I think he may need a few steps.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
And so do I. I'm
Right.
getting a little belly
Yeah,
here.
but
I think he uses
the
that-
dog is getting good exercise.
The dog's getting great exercise. And I think he's got two of them. And so we were joking around. We said, hey, are you going to start a dog walking business now
Right.
since now you got an ATV?
It's a good idea.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, he was, he's an interesting guy. But the versatility with this vehicle is pretty cool because, like we were talking earlier, it's so family friendly that it's not always necessary for the dad to be there to start it, to choke it, and know all these things. The mom or the grandpa or grandma who is not as familiar with motorcycles can really teach the child on how to use it efficiently and safely.
Yeah.
With the app, they can control the vehicle, all aspects of the vehicle. And really, it's just turn the key, give it throttle, and go. It's so simple.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of little kid toys that, I think kids are used to some of the electric stuff growing up, getting to this stage. Even.
Absolutely.
And this is surprisingly, I mean, the MSRP on it, I think, is going to shock a lot of dealers. Literally shock them,
Yeah, that's right. Hopefully not that shocking.
Yeah, well, maybe not. Yeah. No, we don't want it to shock them that way, but it'll be a surprise.
But I like that.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, obviously the MSRP is $14.99 on this vehicle, and again, for what it is and what you're getting with the vehicle, it's really cool because with that removable lithium battery, as long as you have, let's say, a spare battery, essentially you can ride forever. There's no stopping in ride time. And we estimate on each battery about 2 hours of ride time for the child. So that's a good amount of ride time for one battery.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a fair, it's going to last longer than the kid probably attention span or what they're going to want to do for the most part.
Yeah, my son, I've never seen him 2 hours nonstop go at it.
Yeah, right.
He'll do an hour maybe, and then he'll want to take a small break, and then we call that opportunity charging. You just swap out the batteries or connect it to the charger while they're resting, and they're back at it again.
Now, and going into some of the larger ATVs, the gas-powered ones, they're all fuel injected.
Correct.
And which is nice as well because they're less maintenance and things.
Absolutely, and that's where the industry is going, right?
Yeah.
So that's again like the mantra to this little ATV, which was for little kids. This one was so nice about that because there's no gas, there's none of that, and what they are able to do with this thing, which is just ride, and it's non-intimidating. There's no vibration, there's no sound. But going on to the medium size and the adult stuff, yes, absolutely, fuel injection is the way to go. Yeah, definitely ease of use.
And then for your dealers, you've got a lot of parts and availability. You've got a full. You said you're integrating with Lightspeed,
Correct.
Working on that,
Correct.
Or you've already done that.
Yeah. So basically, there's a one step before you can get to Lightspeed, which is all your diagrams and microfiches and everything. And we work with a company called HLSM, and we've integrated our parts system with them already, and now we're working with HLSM and also Lightspeed to do a full integration. So basically, once we have our dealer portal ready, the dealer can go on the dealer portal, click a few buttons just like they do for all the big OEMs, and have their parts.
And it'll be just kind of plug and play, ready to go.
Absolutely.
And it's a nice addition to, a multi-line dealer that may have some of the, obviously you might have some higher end price stuff, but for the entry level kid stuff, like, hey, guys buying those 50,000 side-by-sides, they might want to have a couple of smaller bikes for their kids to mess around with too,
Absolutely. And I mean, we see that commonly where, we have a dealership like one you were speaking with.
Yeah.
The one local
That's
to
what,
us.
yeah.
Yeah, Quick Style Motorsports. And he also works on those big side-by-sides. So, they come into his showroom and they're bringing in their big $50,000 side-by-side to get worked on, and then they see this thing, they're like, oh, it's perfect for our kid, and they end up buying a couple for their kids, because as fun as side-by-sides are, it's not that fun when you're in the back. Right. Hey, Dad, when is this ride going to be over?
Like, hey, I'm kind of bored sitting back here,
Exactly.
And you can't keep them occupied, so I think it's a way to get them involved without, because ultimately we want to be able to build, riders.
Riders for life.
So, and yeah, I mean, sitting in the back, it's as fun as that may be, and watching Dad drive, the little Ripper wants to go out and do his own thing too.
Absolutely, absolutely. For us to bring more kids into the sport, where we've seen a lot of trends, the kids are getting away from the sport and the industry, is very important to us, because electronics are great in their own way, but exploring the outdoors and having adventures, that's the key.
Yeah, and having a throttle and all that is just so much fun.
And it's freedom. Like, that's the one thing I think about.
That's true.
It's ultimately it's freedom, because when you're riding, there's less rules, right?
Yeah.
So that's ultimately gives the person more freedom, and that's, I think,
they get out and experience that for themselves, and they get it, and then they're probably more apt to go out with Dad and
Absolutely.
go on those rides.
Absolutely. Like,
so.
when I think of it and my personal side of it, well, my son, he enjoys riding it, but now it's like he asked me, he's like, hey, Dad, when are we going on this Glamis trip? And hey, when are we going
Yeah.
on this trip? Because
So he's pushing you.
yeah, he's
like-
pushing me. Before where I was pushing him, now
Right.
he's pushing me because like, Dad, we gotta go and we gotta do this. So it's
Yeah.
and I want that for everyone's family to get out and
Yeah,
enjoy it because it's a
absolutely.
really great, clean sport, and it's on the dealer end, it's very profitable.
No, and I mean, I think having a quality product that, that is well built, at an affordable price. I mean, it seems like it's kind of a, as we said earlier, win-win.
Yeah.
There's really, I don't see any real downsides to having a product line that gives you the kind of opportunities that this offers.
I like to use the statement with all my adventures here with Denago, which is no excuses. I like to take all the excuses
Right.
out of the experience of selling the brand as a power sports dealer, and then also as a consumer buying the brand. There's no excuses. So I try to take every excuse or every reason that a person wouldn't want to buy our product and make it into a positive.
And it's got great warranty. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
speaking of no excuses, you've already got, the warranty, 6 month
6
warranty,
months
parts
unlimited,
and labor.
yeah, parts and labor
Yeah.
warranty on anything that's 299 cc's and under.
Okay.
And anything that's 299 cc's and above, 1 year warranty.
1 year warranty on
That's
it.
right.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good
So-
industry warranty.
Yeah. Bringing the kind of support you guys are bringing along with this brand, it's like you're really focusing on U.S. dealers.
Absolutely. Yeah, our focus is U.S.
Yeah.
dealers, and everyone on my staff has at least 20 plus industry experience.
Yeah.
So
You got some pros here.
I got some pros here, and I take all the feedback from all my employees. I listen to all my employees, and I translate that to the product and to the company. I want to make sure that, as far as even, I want to say even to the consumer, of course, most importantly, and the dealer, all that feedback that we get from the consumers and the dealers directly comes to me. I process that information and I put it back into the vehicles, and that's super, super important.
There's always some little feedback loop and little
course.
tweak and change that, you can implement at some point down the road.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, there's, I can say there's a couple of examples of that. I want little girls to come into the sport and ride. For the dirt bikes, we have one part number that you buy, and it comes with every single thing you need, graphics, decals, everything to turn it into a pink version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
That's really
I mean,
cool,
yeah.
right? So that way, it brings more people into the sport. It's not just
Yeah, you're not just saying it's
limited.
all for the little boys or the
Correct.
little, not to say a little girl can't ride a blue bike or a red bike, but having that option.
Absolutely. And that's again direct feedback from the field. So
Yeah.
that's something like that, or it could be something as a decal change, some minor things like that, or more serious structural stuff. I pride myself and I pride Denago on making sure that not only we receive the feedback from consumers and dealers, but also we implement that change as quickly as humanly possible on the vehicles, because ultimately that's what is going to make the brand grow into to real household name OEM brand.
Yeah. Well, and I will say the dealer I visited, Quick Style Motorsports yesterday, they were very complimentary of what you guys have done, and I was just like, hey, give it to me straight.
Yeah.
If it's bad, I want to know. They're not around. Just
Yeah,
tell
just
me.
man to man.
And he's
just let
like,
us
no,
know,
man,
yeah.
they're good, and we're selling a lot of them. So it's really fit in well with what they are doing, and I see that a lot of other dealers having that same kind of reaction once they try them out. So.
At first, obviously, with anything, there's hesitancy.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a new brand, and a dealer has to protect their brand. Dealer's
Yeah.
brand is the dealer's store, right? So the dealer has to protect themselves. So that's why they're a little apprehensive to bring on a new line.
Yeah.
Because they don't know where it could take them. But I can tell you, majority of the time, when the dealer tries our product and gets familiarized with our product, they see the value, and they see what Denago brings to the table.
Do you think you'll ever go on into a street version, any street
You know,
segments?
I've always said that's a great way of growing the brand, right? If you want to grow a brand, you have to have on-road vehicles because, you know, every day when you're driving in your car, you don't really see ATVs and dirt bikes.
Yeah, you don't see them on the road. They're, you know, you're not driving them
Exactly.
in the, you know.
Exactly. So that's one way, obviously, to grow the brand, and there are definitely talks within the company for that. But for now, we're mainly focusing on the off-road side of things
Yeah.
and getting the right vehicles in place. And then once we do that, we definitely will expand to on-road because every brand has to have on-road presence.
Hey, but having the off-road or a dual sport, I mean, right now, you know, off-road's kind of a big, the growing segments are on-road or off-road and dual sport, enduro type stuff, and ADV, I guess, a little bit too. So, and, you know, side-by-sides fit into that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You got a good mix of stuff between the dirt bikes, electric, this little electric, and you're talking about building another electric one a little bigger.
Absolutely. So yeah, there's definitely because what happens is, like I was saying, a lot of people are either gas or electric people, right? And then once they actually, the gas people, once they actually sit on this vehicle and try it for 5 minutes, they're kind of amazed by how it is. So with that, we have to kind of expand. And naturally, the way to expand is to go one size higher. And so we're thinking.
Would it go faster?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'd be able to go faster.
Yeah,
then, 'cause
absolutely.
It's not for the little.
Exactly.
Little
Yeah,
guys,
because the Y6 is limited to 15.
Gotcha.
So the next size up, which is the Y10, that is, I believe, 28 miles an hour top speed.
That would be
so
quick.
that will be quick enough, I think, for
Yeah,
Johnny,
absolutely.
who's 10 years old.
Right. Yeah, it would be quick. It'd be.
yeah.
I can imagine that would be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, we'll do like double the wattage and things like that. So we can actually have fun too.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to have an accessory line or anything like that?
Yes.
Or?
So currently, right now, what we're working on is a full line of apparel. That's very important to us. That's going to be one thing that's going to be headed next. And then part of that is also accessories. Accessories, we don't want to make a huge line of accessories. We want to target the line of accessories that are very useful.
Right. That they'll use, it'll go complementary to the brand.
Exactly. So that's kind of what we're thinking about. And just like big manufacturer OEMs, they have, let's say, one platform that multiple accessories can fit on.
Right. So you can use that same accessory rack system for multiple brands across, you know.
Correct.
That would be great.
Yes.
You know.
Definitely. And that's what our customers want. And
Yeah.
so we will give them. Again, that's the whole no excuses thing, right?
Right.
So we definitely want to make sure that there's no excuses.
Well, you know, there's no excuses for, you know, me being here. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having us out again.
Oh, absolutely.
And keep us posted on the extent of your company and new brands coming out, new models coming out.
Absolutely. We'll do. And again, thank you so much for having me. And it's been a pleasure having you here today with us.
Thank you.